It's January 6, 2026. Welcome to YesToHellWith.com. Before we begin, I'd like to say something clearly. What we are doing here is unusual. Most people want tools right away, forms, scripts, or actions they can take immediately to solve problems. Instead, we are slowing down in order to build mental discipline first. How to think about the problem before touching anything. This matters because if we grab a tool before we understand the system we're dealing with, that tool will be used in the wrong way and it will backfire. That is how people hurt themselves without realizing it. We are deliberately resisting the urge to do something too fast so that when action finally comes, it is precise, controlled, and effective. That is exactly what we are trying to avoid here, moving quickly in the wrong direction. Yesterday, I asked you to look at a real letter that was sent to the IRS and to decide, based upon that letter only, whether it helped or harmed the person who sent it. What your comments revealed was not ignorance, but a pattern. Most people are still trying to solve this problem by fixing status. That instinct is understandable, but it is also the trap. Now, when I say status, I'm not talking about who you are as a human being, your beliefs, or your identity. Status is how the government classifies you so it can decide which rules it thinks apply. Statements like, I am a U.S. citizen, I am not a U.S. citizen, I am a state national, I am a non-resident alien, or I revoke my election, are all status claims. The critical point most people miss is this. The IRS does not need to agree with your status claims in order to act against you. That is why status-based strategies keep failing. Looking at the comments, I saw several versions of the same idea. Some people focused on birth certificates, others on citizenship or nationality, others on renunciation, form changes, or tone and emotions. Different approaches, but the same underlying belief that if someone could just get their status right, the system would have to stop. That belief is false. The IRS begins by assuming certain things, that it has authority over you, that you fall into a category it can regulate, and that obligations apply. This assumption is called, simply enough, presumption. When someone responds by immediately arguing status, by declaring who they are or are not, they make several mistakes that work against them. First, by asserting status right away, they answer a question the IRS never proved it had the right to ask. Instead of forcing the IRS to explain why it has authority, they volunteer an identity which helps the IRS. Second, when someone denies labels outright, the IRS does not stop. It simply continues as if the denial never happened, so the assumption remains in place. Third, when someone issues commands like cease and desist, they step outside how the process actually works, because private individuals cannot order administrative agencies to stop. That language signals misunderstanding, not strength. Fourth, when someone accuses the agency of fraud, tyranny, or treason, the letter stops functioning as a clean record and becomes noise. None of this forces the IRS to prove jurisdiction, and that is why these letters fail. The failure here is not sincerity, and it is not a lack of intelligence. The failure is order. The writer tried to solve the problem by declaring who he was instead of forcing the IRS to prove why it has authority at all. That sequencing mistake is what traps people and keeps the system moving against them. At this point, many of you are asking, so what should I say instead? And I'm asking you not to ask that question yet. If I give you a response now, many people will copy it without understanding it and then use it the wrong way. That is how people get hurt. We are doing this correctly, even if it feels slow. Instead, approach this in a disciplined way. I'm asking those of you who own a copy of the Liberty Dialogues to use it as a framework, upload it into ChatGPT as a diagnostic tool, not as a problem solver. And then ask ChatGPT to examine the letter through that Liberty Dialogues framework. Ask where the letter helped the IRS by answering too quickly, where the letter assumed authority instead of challenging authority, and where the letter turned what should have been a clean record into noise. Ask which Liberty Dialogues principles were violated and what proper order would look like without drafting any kind of response. Do not ask for a replacement letter. Do not ask how to win against the IRS. Do not ask what form to file. This exercise is not about finding a solution. This exercise is about learning how to recognize failure before failure causes us harm. If you do this exercise faithfully, please email the analysis you receive from ChatGPT to info@yestohellwith.com. Please do not post it on social media. This is about discipline, not performance. For those who do not yet own the Liberty Dialogues, you are missing a major piece to the puzzle to grasp greater understanding of the system and of yourself within the system. So pay attention to what happens next. You will see that people with this framework, the Liberty Dialogues framework, can identify bad advice quickly, stay calm under pressure, and avoid emotional reactions and spot traps before stepping into them. This is the real value. In the next video, I will show you the most common mistakes people make in this exercise, why discipline is harder than knowledge, and only then what a properly ordered response looks like. But not yet. It will come soon. The federal system, the tax system, the court system moves first by assuming authority. If we respond the wrong way, we help the system. If we respond in the right order and we force it to explain itself, that difference, just simply the order, not belief, is everything. We'll continue next time, and as always, may truth reign supreme.